You know what I like? I like games that are fun. I like games that have cards. I like games that have tokens. I like games that have well-written rules. I also like boards. Boards are maybe the best part of a board game. And sometimes the board doesn't really have all that kind of great stuff going on. Sometimes the cards are kind of boring. Sometimes the tokens just have numbers on them. But every once in a while, those normal, boring whatevers will transcend what they actually are and introduce a new concept. Something that will elevate all of this boring, normal into fucking magic. And sometimes it's as simple as a little spell book. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be talking about an old-ass game that I've had for a long time, and I have played it a lot. The only thing I like more than a game that's fun is a game that's fun that I actually get to play. Ladies and gentlemen, get them wands ready. Call up your Harry Potters, because today, let's open up a Grimoire. Alright, Grimoire, or however you nerds want to fucking pronounce it, is a game for you and a handful of players by Hayato Kisaragi, in which you and a couple of your friends are going to be casting spells and doing card things. It's actually a very simple game. On your turn, you're going to have your spell book. This spell book has a number of spells in it, and it's the crux of the game. You're going to take your spell book, you're going to take your bookmarker, the colors are going to match, like that, and you are going to look through the rule book, and you're going to be like, what do I want to do? Not the rule book. You're going to look through your magical book, and you'll be like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And you're going to find one, you're going to put your bookmark in here secretly, you're going to put that shit on the table, you're going to put your finger on it, and then you're going to wait. And then at the time when everyone has selected their spell, everyone will reveal, and then you get to do what the thing says. Depending on the order will depend on the order in which everyone goes. And, right here. So everyone takes one of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s, depending on the order. And these do all kinds of things. For example, silence. Between now and the end of this round, the other player's forbidden spell effects are negated. Each spell has a different sort of doohickey in which they can do. But there's only a certain number of spells that you can use. Let's go to the floor. So here's the board. As I mentioned, it's not a lot to look at. Here's a little spot for all your victory point tokens. Here's some item cards, and here's some quest cards. On your turn, you're gonna take these, you're gonna deal 1 face down, and then depending on the number of players will depend on what you do. 2 to 4 players, face up, and then nothing goes down here unless you have more, and then face up, blah, blah, blah. Now, these are the cards that you're trying to get. Say, for example, let's say, bam! You want to be this little knight mercenary dude. During the book phase, which is the phase in which you're doing the books, each time you select the same page number as any other player, take 1 victory point from the victory point token area. So what these are, you're basically building like a character engine with the spells, and the spells will also give you a chance to pick first and who gets to buy first, and buying is just the taking the shit from the thing. So down here at the bottom, this will determine the level of spell you're going to use. So in the first round, we can only use level up to 6, and then 7, and then 8. And if you know anything about numbers, they keep going up. And then 15. And that's when we get to go in our book, and that's when you can use everything. However, you are going to find yourself kind of using the same spells over and over, and that is okay. So let's go through some of these spells and kind of what they do. Like I mentioned, there's different types of spells. So here's one of those forbidden spells that I talked about. So take a victory point chip worth 1 point from the area. No big deal. But if someone else played silence, you don't get to do that. Common spell. Choose a card in the quest card zone. That's right fucking there. And then discard it. Then take a card from the top of the quest card deck and put it in the quest card zone. Easy. So you get to like mitigate the cards and move them around. Everything in here is basically giving you a chance to take all of the shit that's right here, because these are going to build your engine. So for example, Each time you take the first turn in the quest phase, you take a victory point. Awesome. So this chick's mainly worth 1 point at the end, but throughout the game, she can get you a lot, so you're inclined to go first. Then there's things that will give you more victory points if you go last. There are so many different characters in here, and they do all kinds of stuff. There's also just silver. So there are things that'll just give you straight victory points. Sometimes they'll send your ass to the item deck, and the item deck will have a lot of just random victory point stuff. It'll also have a lot of junk that gives you nothing. However, whoever has the most junk at the end of the game gets something, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. The joy of the game, as I mentioned, is this beautiful little spell book right here. No Wingardium Leviosa, no Avada Kedavra, no nothing. Take victory point, total worth 2 points. So as you go up, the spells will get stronger and stronger, and you're less likely to use other ones unless you're really trying to go first or go last. Between now and the end of the round, no other players can target you with illusionary or spell effects. So it's kind of a lot of, oh, all these can do, but the game does a really good job of introducing one spell a turn, and then we basically keep going until there's no more quest cards, and whoever is the winner at the winner is the winner. It seems like a very easy game, and it is. And the art is beautiful. If you're into the animes, it's up there. You can't, the mangas? If you're into the mangas, then the art is going to be very nice. The art designer dude is Shusaku Kondo. Don't know who that is, but they did a hell of a job. It's a fun game. It's a simple game, but this right here, oh, it's like crack. It's like fucking crack. And I fucking love it. And every time I played this game, I will get to that right now. Housekeeping! Yoink! Here we go. We have this for 2 to 5 players. It is a very different game at 2 players than it is at 5 or 4 or 3. It's a goddamn free-for-all when you're using a lot of players, and you can't really plan and strategize very well. But when it's 2 players, you can see what the other player's gonna do, and you're like, oh, I see you're probably going for this, which means I can go for this, and you'll find yourself tying and picking the same spell more often in a 2-player game than you are in a 5-player game, which is some bit of random fuckery that I'm not even sure. 30 minutes! It's a very, very quick game. And then ages 12 and up, because I don't know, there's like maybe a busty lady or two. I don't fucking know. So, Grimoire, ma'am, is a delightful game. It looks like a little book on the side. Look at that shit. Oh, it's a little book. Oh, a little book gonna go up on the thing. Game is really good. The game is a game that I don't even think you can find anymore. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I got this one, and it's good. All of the spells are fun. Some of them are more powerful than others. To give you an idea on what like the most powerful spell is at the end, Wish. Return 1 victory point to your territory, to the victory point area, then take 3 random discards. The discard area runs out of cards, take the rest. So it's just giving you more and more cards. And that's it. So you'll get a little tableau going. But what's great about these cards here, let's say I have an archer. This archer here, each time you take the last turn in the quest phase, you take a victory point from the victory point area. But what's awesome? These stack. So if you get 4 of these, you get 4 points every turn if you're last. But everybody knows that. And are they just going to let you go last? Fuck no, they're not. They're going to try to dunk your ass. Ooh, who's this? Scholar got a book on her head. Isn't that adorable? When you take this card, take a victory point for the victory point area, and she's worth a victory point at the end. Victory points are the name of the game. The one thing I love about games is victory points. And winning them. Is the game perfect? Nah, not at all. Look at this board. This board is boring as shit. But it's functional. And they didn't even need to include it, honestly. It could have just been, do a thing and then go do your thing. The only thing on the board that's necessary is a little tracker down here, but they didn't need to do this. But they did. All of these cards, there don't need to be so many cards, but there are, and it's wonderful. Some of the abilities are kind of complicated. We got a fancy little street performer here. If you return this card to the quest card zone while taking a card during the quest phase, you can take 2 quest cards instead of 1. Remember earlier when I said you keep going until you run out of cards? You're basically going to run out of cards. But the first person to have 10 items in front of them or 10 companions is the actual winner. It's so good. It's one of these games that you forget kind of how fun it is. And you're like, should I play it? And then you have the little box and you're like, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. You should. Play this game because it's delightful. If you ever played a game and you forgot how good it was, and then you went back and played it and you're like, oh, it's not as good as I remember, that's also been this game. So this game is also really dependent on who you play it with. It's not going to be a knock it out of the park every time with every group you play it with. But once you do find that group where it sings, it fucking soars. And it's just one of those games where after you explain the first few rules, it can be kind of wonky to teach it, but after that, it's great. Do you like it too?
Yeah.
Yeah? So do you think Daddy should keep this game?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you want to play it with me one day?
Yeah.
So, Grimoire, it's behind me now, and it's, if you can find it, I definitely recommend it. It's a game that I've had forever, for pretty much as long as I've been playing board games. It's found its way to me, and it's one of those games that I can't imagine not having in my collection. Grimoire. In my Hard 100. It's a great game. It's perfect for my shelf as a quick up and play. Ooh. I just make up a new term? A quick up and play. Not a pick up and play, a quick up and play. Ooh, son of a bitch. I got to trademark that. It's fun. You know, I love boards. I love cards. I love tokens. I love little books that let me do things. It's got a gimmick. I recommend it. So ladies and gentlemen, this is perfect for my fucking shelf. It might be perfect for yours if you're looking for some quick up and play. I don't know, it's good. I like board games that remind me why I like board games. And this reminds me because I like the cards, I like art, I like tokens, I like boards, I like gimmicks that stand the test of time. I like a game that I can explain to someone and they immediately get it. I like a game with simultaneous action selection where everyone's picking their thing and then, oh, do I take it back and do I look at it again? And also it's about magic, and who doesn't like magic? Is it worth hunting down a copy if you can find it? Absolutely. If you see it on sale somewhere, grab it. I don't know how much it was retail. It was like 30 bucks maybe. I don't think it's worth like exorbitant amounts of money, but if you have a friend that has it and you're wondering what that weird looking game is on his shelf that looks like a book, give it a shot. It's one of those games that I don't think they should reprint, but I do think they should print more of them, if that makes sense. I don't fucking know. Hope you and yours are well. This has been my Hard 100. Peace out.